This is just another test. There's a challenge in a book that talked about making as many videos as possible. So I want to get used to talking. And, being recorded. It's not easy for me. But food is what I want to talk about right now. Food matters. You are what you eat. Mental illness can either come from only a bad diet or can be exaggerated many times over from a bad diet. If you have any kind of brain issue, it's running off of sugars and starches and not as much good fats, then it's going to show up and magnify your issues. So what you eat is important. I don't think someone being so strict on a diet that they're not going to allow room for cheating a little bit, because if you make your diet so tight and hard to attain, you're going to give up. So you've got to make it to where it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's going to be long-lived. It's not a short-term goal. Because if you overly, put a lot of pressure and stress on yourself about being very, very extremely strict, especially right off at the beginning, you're not going to want to stay doing it. You're going to say, forget this. It's too hard to do. For me, in my life, when I had a serious problem with my health, the more serious the problem was, the more motivation it was for me to stay strict, because I didn't know what the heck was happening to me. So for me, at that moment, I clamped down, and I was extremely, extremely strict for about a 3-year period. 7 or 8 months of that I was raw vegan, but predominantly it was pretty strict paleo the rest of the time. But I do eat grains a little bit more now. I just try to stay away from gluten. But gluten is a neurotoxin, and the gluten that we know now, there's a lot of people with sensitivities to gluten. Why is this? For one thing, it's been changed. The wheat is the main form of gluten. Rye and barley are also. There's maybe a little bit of gluten in other things, but usually it's from processing and residue. And so if you're really, really sensitive, oatmeal that's been processed in the same kind of mills or the same kind of factory that the wheat or rye or barley has been, then it may have gluten residue. But most likely, if someone's talking about gluten, they're talking about wheat, rye, and barley. And the majority of the time that people are sensitive to gluten, it's coming from what we know now as wheat. And the reason why I say we know now as wheat, it's because basically GMO, genetically modified organisms, in a lab, when something's altered and manipulated, that's basically my definition of a GMO. For some reason, They're wanting to change the structure and the makeup of something. And in that process, the kind of wheat we have now is not the same kind of wheat our ancestors ate. So whatever was the sensitivity to the gluten before is magnified to a much greater extent. And now I'm just trying to keep things in simple form because honestly a lot of these deep information I don't have off the top of my head. So in a general term, lightly, just going over basic nutrition. Sugars and starchy vegetables, whether it's potatoes, refined grains, or any grain really. But the more processed and refined it is, whether it's white rice. White rice is not natural in the wild. So, it's lacking, it's been bleached, it's lacking some of the nutrients. So, nutrition for the brain. And sugar, our blood sugar, the hypoglycemic level. You keep the brain fed properly and slow and steady. These things are all connected. And honestly, in my knowledge of studying, it's a holistic approach. The mind is affected by the body, and the body is affected by the mind. What you put into your mouth is serious stuff. Yeah, it tastes good. You could cheat and say one pop a week, or some ice cream once a week, or splurge a little bit. But for the most part, when you learn the information and whys to what's healthy for you and better, what's going to magnify ADHD, what's going to magnify mood swings, what's going to magnify depression. So if there's already a predisposition through some other kind of thing, whether it's neurotoxicity in the brain, or hereditary makeup, rough childhood, these types of things, foods, caffeine, sugars, combination of both, can bring out, magnify these symptoms. So I've done a lot of experiments on myself, and my situation in my life is not one size fits all. No way, shape, or form would I ever say that I know because of what I've done to myself all the answers. And I don't even know everything. But I know my life right now is way better than it ever once was before. And if our brain, say it's like compared to a 8-cylinder engine, because of a rough childhood, you take 2 horses away. Now you're running on 6 cylinders. Now you go through a stressful time in your life. Maybe you're running a business and you have a guy smoking meth working for you. He's a thief, or whatever it may be. You don't want to have a reputation for. You don't want one of your customers to get something stolen from them. You don't want no one to find. You get pulled over for a traffic ticket, and then you find paraphernalia and something else in your vehicle. Now your name's in the paper. So, that could be one thing, or, anything in life, family matters, whether it's a rough time in a marriage, something going through with the children, financial, you lose your job, anything that's stressful. Now you're trying to grow your business, and you hired 3 or 4 more guys, and you're trying to still work 40 hours on the job, and now it's your evening time gets robbed because now you're doing more scheduling, and you're doing way more phone calls, and next thing you know, you have no time to yourself whatsoever. So there's balance involved. But if we're already stealing some of the horses, if they were already stole or robbed or not there fully because of a predisposition, what you eat now is going to affect your nervous system. Will be more sensitive. So everybody's body is different. Some people can drink a couple pots of coffee and go to bed. But proven fact is that caffeine, they're not sleeping as soundly as they really could be. But, there's just a lot of factors involved. But the truth is in the facts. What you eat does matter. You want to lose 30 pounds? Cut grains out of your diet tomorrow. I can guarantee you, in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. Now, I myself am always going to eat some grains. I like grains, but how many of them? Some form of paleo diet is my preference. So that's going to be minimal. You're going to have to, I have to not eat grains as much as I would like. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I can cheat a little bit here and there, but I consider myself a medium, strict paleo diet. So that way I keep myself in check all the time. And when I go through little spurts where I eat a few more than others, I feel like I'm cheating. And I will allow myself that. But I'll be eating out. I'll be at lunch for a sandwich, but I won't buy gluten from my house. My grocery list for, whether I'm going to a, Respects grocery store, Kroger's, or wherever I'm going, I'm not going to buy that in my grocery list. But I will, at lunchtime or whatever, add some of this other thing in my diet as a treat. So this keeps a check on me at all times. But if I wanted to lose 30 pounds, I can guarantee you, on a strict paleo diet, I was 155. Right now, I weigh 185. I don't look overweight to most people. Most people think I still look thin. But I can tell that my pant size is not 32 anymore. Actually, 34s are a little bit tight. So, there's some pants you put back in your drawer on the other side where you ain't going to use them very often, but you want to go back there. So, it's just within my control. I know what to do. It's just applying it. But I've done a lot of these experiments on myself with food, even after I went to Dr. Siegel's and, had a bad health problem where I didn't know what was going on. And, I was scared to death, so I wouldn't eat anything that was remotely possibly causing a complication or a problem. But now that that's gone, it actually lets toxicity out of my brain. I can eat things now. I used to be severely sensitive. half of a sandwich, regular size sandwich, would have made me irritable and groggy. I could eat, I can eat a lot of gluten now, and nothing, not a thing. So, it's just, it's still, though, I know what to do. I know what's right to do. And I can tell with more starchy stuff and sugar, like if I was to start being slacked on pop or things with sugar in it, it speeds up the mind. So if you have a tendency to be ADHD or obsessive compulsive or whatever it may be, you're going to have a lot more difficulty with high fructose corn syrup in your diet. And it's not regular sugar in all these foods anymore. Our ancestors, our grandparents, they had real sugar. So even though it wasn't still good for them, it was better than high fructose corn syrup. So we have a concentration of something that's way more, concentrated. This high fructose corn syrup is, I don't remember the statistics on how, if it's 3 times potency of sugar, but I know it's a lot more. So it's just not a good thing, and it can speed up diabetes and other problems. And there's so many things that can affect our health in other ways, and I'm predominantly concerned about mental health. But it's directly related to the other parts of health, because you think of fibromyalgia, you think of restless leg syndrome, and there's other things, even with celiacs and a lot of gut disorders. They bring on anxiety, mental illness of some sort. This is all interrelated in a lot of ways. So you cannot separate the mind and the body. So this is my rant. I guess it's more of a rant. And a lot of these things that I am putting out there, I just want to make people aware of something. Educate them where I can. But, it's nice to eat raw, organic foods as much as possible in your diet. Good meats. Think about the meat alone. If you were to get meat from a place that these animals were mistreated, legs broken, crammed, tons and tons of chickens or animals crammed together, maybe given hormones to speed up their growth, how much stress, hormones, and whatever else that can affect the body from stress is going to go through these animals. Now, you eat this meat, you think you're not, just like you're injecting something in your body, you're eating it, you're taking it in, so now your hormone content is going to be high on the stress hormones. Cortisol, adrenaline, whatever, there's many others, can't think of the names right off the top of my head. But, so, and just the meat alone, if you have anger issues, and you have a lot of stress hormones, or you have anxiety problems, and you have a lot of cortisol, you're not going to sleep as easy. You're going to sleep worse. So, where are we getting our meat? You want to Walmart getting your meat with that red slime in it? Meat ain't red. Normally it's like a brownish tint to it. So, I go to, local shops that are mom and pop type markets. And, I live in an area right now that's more rule. There's a lot of cattle ranchers. So there's a place called T&J Markets. Their meat is beautiful, but I also know a lot of independent farmers that I can get meat from, and it's paleo good. I can see how the animals are raised and where they're grazing and how peaceful they are, and I don't care if I have to pay a little bit more. If I don't, I'd rather not buy it at all if it's because it's cheaper and you're gonna eat. I'd rather cut my grocery bill in half if I have to eat crap, trash. Why put your body, we're already doing enough by cheating with a pop a week or two, whatever you may do yourself personally, have a little ice cream. But we're already cheating enough. So we need to find a happy balance. But in order to find that balance, you have to educate yourself. Get the facts. And so my entitlement to this little rant is that food does matter with mental illness. It's a proven fact. People who are strict paleo and raw vegan, I don't know about vegetarian because they eat way too many grains. A lot of vegetarians I know, I'm not saying all, but a lot of vegetarians have no problem with, that's a lesser nutrient-dense food. You don't want to eat. That's like America when they were trying to, that fake pyramid with the big percentages of, servings of grains. That's not going to help us think better. That's not nutrient-dense foods. It's comfort foods. It's enjoyable. They taste good. You get a little rush from, these starchy stuff. But let it be a treat. Don't go hog wild with it. It's not going to serve you as brain power. It's not going to be helpful. If there's any issues going on in the brain, what does the brain function the best on optimally? Good fats. And of course, nutrient-dense foods. And if you can, get as much organic, farmers market foods, in season when they have their little, stands here and there, or if you have to go outside of a city a little bit, like even a city like Akron, when I used to live there. Shays Market, between Akron and Cleveland. It was a big old farmer market, and it was there all the time. It was all summer long. So, if you hunt, you can find. And then there's Whole Foods and Raisin Racks, and if you live in a bigger city, you have all those kind of things. Now, if you live in the country, you may have some Amish with a stand outside the city limits somewhere, and you just have to remember where that's at and go there next time if you're pointed in the wrong direction. But you'll have many opportunities no matter where you live. If it's a country, rural area, if it's in a bigger city, there's always a way to find good foods. But if you can, as much as possible, I don't get extremely fanatical about organic. We all have a budget to keep. We don't want this to be so financially burdening. Make some steps. If you're financially in a good place, start doing a little bit more that way. But right now, just changing your diet to eating more raw fruits and vegetables, more good. Now the meat, you do want to be careful. You can't really buy most meat from Walmart. It's not going to be a good thing. But just be careful, And in fast food restaurants, most restaurants, allow the meat. It's a once in a while treat. Don't, just be careful, because you don't know where this meat's coming from, and you don't know what you're putting in your body. So You know, if a mind has issues, if a mind is not functioning properly, until you find out what is the root cause of your problem, there's ways of managing it. And I'm not a big fan of managing health of any nature. That's Western medicine. That's Western medicine job. So that's all they can't even manage it very well. They don't definitely want to find the root cause or the cure. But you know, the best thing is to find a cure for your problem. But in the meantime, in between time, if you have a problem with a car and you can't afford a regular mechanic, even the regular mechanic's going to do some troubleshooting. So you have to troubleshoot. You might try some avenues and things, and it may take you a while to find the root cause. But in the meantime, eat good. And you may find that just eating a very healthy diet may change your problem right there. But that may not be, you know, there's other things. And when it comes to toxicity, remember it's not just neurotoxins or the carcinogens that are floating around all around us. It could be mental toxins too. Things that we're holding on to in our childhood. We don't love ourselves. Louise Hay, read her stuff. Tony Robbins, and Anthony Robbins. Read one of his books or watch his videos. Those kind of people. You know, get yourself geared, or you can start undoing mental baggage that's in your brain. Start believing in yourself. But you know, getting down food matters. That's right now. If you can do that first, I would say that would be the start of my troubleshooting. Would be first a good diet, and that can be a basis for the rest of your journey. Is then you eating healthy, and it can affect blood sugar levels and your whole body and your whole life in a lot of other ways. So even if that's not directly the answer to your problem, it's going to benefit you in many, many ways. You may not have diabetes and you may slow it down a problem, you know, or eliminate a problem in your life. So this is my rant, and I hope it helps somebody.